An asteroid struck the Earth, destroying the world. The Earth's surface became almost entirely a wasteland, with only 1% of survivors managing to stay alive by sheer luck. We struggled to hold on in our doomsday fortress for 5 years, but when I ventured to the surface to explore, I discovered that the ground was covered entirely with black soil formed by volcanic lava. I came to the seaside and saw several lifeboats that had been washed ashore by the waves. Just as I was about to approach for a closer look, I suddenly encountered a terrifying radiation storm. The radiation storm carried countless bolts of lightning within it, like a monstrous creature about to devour the world. I fled toward the base at top speed, but before I could even enter, the lightning had already reached there first. At this critical moment of life and death, I jumped onto the base gate that was about to close and was pulled back to safety by my companions. If I had stayed outside even 1 second longer, only death would have awaited me. The first thing I did upon returning to the base was to wash off all the radioactive materials from my body to avoid affecting the other companions inside. Just when I thought I was fine, the doctor gave me terrible news. Because I had been exposed to radiation from multiple excursions outside, I now had only 6 to 8 weeks left to live. Suddenly, a violent tremor came. The base immediately began to shake. As the ceiling kept collapsing, the ground split apart due to the harsh environment, causing the underground shelter to begin caving in. I found my wife and son, grabbed the essential medicines and masks, and prepared to escape from the base. When I opened the exit door, the ceiling overhead also began to collapse. But we had just gotten outside when the exit behind us was buried by debris. Without the protection of the base, we had no way to survive outside for even one night. Now our only option was to go to the seaside and take a small boat to leave. However, many other survivors had the same idea as us. Everyone desperately ran toward the small boats. Even when the boats were overloaded, they still climbed aboard without hesitation. Eventually, the boat capsized in the water. Realizing the situation was dire, I immediately led my wife and child toward the last remaining boat. After some struggle, we finally boarded the vessel. At that moment, a voice called out, telling us to close the hatch quickly or none of us would be able to leave. The people outside kept pounding on the hull, letting out desperate howls. After we started the small boat, we spotted a giant wave nearly 100 meters high rapidly approaching from not far away. The people on land tried to flee, but were all swallowed by the waves, with no possibility of survival. Even our small boat was in peril amid the huge waves, at risk of sinking at any moment. All we could do now was pray. Fortunately, we safely made it through the waves. I suggested that the captain head southeast. In less than a week, we could reach London, England, where there might be areas not submerged by seawater. When I opened the hatch again, we had already arrived at a British port, but this place had been completely flooded, with only a few landmark buildings still recognizable. So we could only take out the oars and continue forward by rowing. Before long, we finally saw land. Many people were trading and living here. Even the military shelter was located here.